Welcome to another episode of Iokua Hates Everything. This time around we're covering NIER for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. Now, I would be lying to you if I didn't say that NIER was one of the best, worst, and most confusing games I have ever played. Let's just start at the beginning of how I feel about this game. If you, like me, were alive during the PlayStation 1 and 64 era, you remember a lot of the RPGs that Squaresoft put out on the PlayStation 1. They were great. I mean, that was Squaresoft's heyday. This kind of feels like if this had been put out during that time period 14, 13 years ago, it would have been absolutely fantastic. As it is, it's still an unbelievably good game, but it has a lot of flaws, which, I don't know, could have been fixed with proper attention to detail. So, basic story is you're a father out to cure his sick daughter.
You all right?
And what makes this game so tragic and just so heartwarming all at the same time is your daughter, Yona, is unbelievably cute. She's sick to the point that she's dying, but she's just so goddamn cute. And she's self-sacrificing, and all she wants to do is spend time with her daddy, even though her daddy spends all of his time fighting monsters and going into insane situations just to save her life. It gets me right there, you know. So basically, once we've gotten the story aspects out of the way, which I basically described the crux of the story already, you are playing as NIER, whatever you name him, and it's an action RPG. Very, very simple. Kind of feels like Shadow of the Colossus, only with, you know, smaller enemies and you don't climb them, and I guess I should probably preface that a bit. It's got the empty, barren, lifeless world of Shadow of the Colossus. It's got that down really well. You don't climb your big, giant monster enemies or anything like that, but you do fight in mysterious, decrepit areas through a world that has seen better days. It's a lot of fun. Very simple, which is a bit of a flaw, but very, very fun. And from a gameplay perspective, there's not really anything wrong with it, but it doesn't do anything exceedingly well. I mean, it is pretty much a button masher with some use of the shoulder buttons for magic and dodging and guarding and all that stuff. It's very, very simple. It's straightforward. It's no God of War. It's no Devil May Cry. It's no Bayonetta, but when it all comes down to it, doesn't really try to be. It's kind of like Shadow of the Colossus.
We need help.
If you weren't climbing enemies and there was more of a focus on the action instead of, well, the barren, lifeless, faux artistic experience. So, generally, the game, well, it's hard to explain, but you start off in 2049, and then it jumps forward to 2361, and Yona's just as cute now, if not cuter. This is weird to say, but one of my favorite parts are the loading screens. You get a diary entry from Yona, or you get her a little character of her walking along at the bottom of the screen, or maybe she'll wave to you. It's all very, very cute. And I don't know, because it's such a tragedy, it really gets to me. Again, it also borrows some elements from Monster Hunter, where you can kill enemies and, you know, loot their corpses. Okay, the game, as I have said multiple times, has very simple gameplay. It kind of feels like The Legend of Zelda. It kind of feels like Kingdom Hearts with less prepubescent boys swinging giant phallic keys at each other. Well, I'd say it's got shades of Shadow of the Colossus, The Legend of Zelda, and Kingdom Hearts kind of all rolled into one. And I don't know, there are a lot of elements about this game that are extremely simple and don't really meld that well together, but on the same note, there are also a lot that are just so much better than other elements that it makes up for certain flaws. Like, the biggest thing in this game is the music. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, it has one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard. Nearly every track has some kind of vocal component to it, and it's a lot of fun, and it's really enjoyable. Now, let's cover bosses for a minute here. Beating down bosses will cause timer things to appear. You have to take it out before the timer, ends, or that's it. That's all she wrote. You lose. Well, not really you lose. It just heals itself.
Quite the outfit.
Another actually really cool aspect of the bosses is that, you know what a bullet hell is? Well, a bullet hell is usually like an old school shoot 'em up with a whole hell of a lot of projectiles flying at you. And some of the bosses in NIER are actually like that, like a third-person action-adventure RPG with bullet hell added in for good measure. It's unique and it's really interesting, and I wish they did more of it, and I wish they made it, a little bit more challenging in that aspect. Now, the final aspects of the gameplay are side quests and word collection. Now, anytime you see like that speech bubble above someone's head, it means they have a mission for you, be it storyline or side quest. And the basic point of them is some of them advance the plot, but most of them are just to get you money, to get you items, to expand beyond what the game offered beforehand. Because the majority of the game is pretty much side quest, with about a dozen or so storyline missions. Another unique aspect of the game is the word system. As you kill enemies, you will learn words which allow you to alter your weapons and magic. Some will alter weapon damage, some will alter magic damage, some will power up your magic, make it cost less to use, like boost your experience levels. It's unique and it's interesting. I mean, yeah, similar things have been done before, but never with a focus on words and speech, as that's a very important aspect of the game. This game also has 4 separate endings, and as you beat the game, first time you won't understand what your enemies are saying. The second time, you'll kind of get more background. The third and fourth times, you'll learn more about your characters and your comrades. It's very interesting. I mean, but when it all comes down to it, what really sets this game apart, aside from the simple gameplay, is the story. I mean, you don't very often find a story in a game that focuses on the plot. It isn't a big epic story like Mass Effect 2. It's not like your typical JRPG where everyone goes home happy regardless of what tragedies occur. It's a unique, simple, and tragic game, and it is most definitely worth playing. The music is fantastic, the gameplay is easy to get into, and the plot, it tugs at your heartstrings, at least it did for me. I definitely recommend taking a look at it.